Nobody's muted. We have the overlay gone.
It's perfect.
Wait, no. We had an intro that we were gonna do, and that failed. So
that's not my fault, though.
Right.
I just say,
starts replacing Blaine.
This guy.
Right, so let's.
Well, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the 4Nerds, and we are the 4Nerds. I'm Dawson Weedrick alongside Anthony, also Andre and Ryan. And we're glad to have you guys here. Got a very exciting show, got a lot of great topics, and got a fantastic guest. But first off, how you guys doing?
We're doing great, man.
I'm doing great. I'm ready to go. I'm excited to talk to Robert. Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great.
Wait. So you're not convinced? Oh, so you need me. Let's go!
Let's go!
It's fire.
There we go.
I'm ready to go as well. I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
I sure hope so.
I'm down.
Calm and collected.
Yeah, there you go. I'm the anchor.
All right, sure. We'll go with that. Oh, we got Ray's collection here.
You're always weighing us down.
And we got a lot of people.
I'm holding you down.
We got a lot of people in the chat from, of course, Robert's viewers, Meyer Burnett's viewers, D.D. Myers, Jeffrey
How's
Moy.
everybody doing
today? A lot of new people.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's awesome.
Even got a regulars like Jesse Allen.
Jesse Allen was good.
Got Jacob.
Ayo.
I saw a Jose. We also, I believe we saw Benson's down here. What's up, man? We also, I believe we saw Sickness. Got Barcy B. Let's go.
Barcy was good.
Again, we got a very awesome show for you guys today and a very special guest. So without further ado, guys, let's just bring him in because
there you go.
Let's start the conversation. Robert Meyer Burnett, how you doing, man?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me on the show. It's always an honor to be invited anywhere. So thank you.
We appreciate you coming on. Man.
Yeah. So awesome
so
to stream with you. I mean, you're so informative. I love listening to you. So just go ahead and go.
About starter subjects. I'm sure there's people like that guy's so full of shit.
Well, I mean, it is Ryan, so.
Hey. All right, let's start it off. We're starting Superman Returns behind the scenes. Let's go.
And yes, Barcy, like Barcy said, hit that like button, share it around. We're going to have a great conversation today because there's just a lot of cool stuff to talk about as far as movie news is concerned. In fact, I kind of want to start off with a thing that aired or just came out today, which I think we're all excited about.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the teaser for Army of the Dead on Netflix. I'm assuming everybody here got to see that at least a couple of times.
I saw the Red Band trailer.
It's great.
Blue and everything.
No, it was awesome. It was a great trailer. Very, very vivid, which is it was part of the core for Vegas.
Yeah, it was a great teazer.
Yes,
very great teaser. Great teaser. Like didn't show much, showed you just enough. And I mean, we're all going to be tuned in May when it comes out. So it was a great teaser because that's what they called it, was a teaser, and it was on point.
So it teased you.
Yeah.
It definitely teased.
I was tingled.
Yes,
well, that did its job. Robert, what were some things you noticed from the teaser that intrigued you?
You know, first of all, the entire milieu of Vegas, the idea that apparently, like I had read the other day, that there's a zombie outbreak in Vegas that apparently they trace back to Area 51.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it might have aliens involved, and then
and Indiana Jones.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And, I hope it goes better than that did. Yeah. But I love this idea that, you know, one of the things I love zombies. I've been a huge fan since Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead, not Snyder's, but Romero's, is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I love because I think my greatest fear is living in a non-civilized society, like having So yeah, like last year, the whole civil order breaks down, and that's kind of what the whole zombie thing represents to me. And humanity is dying off, yet all that remains of humanity are the dickheads that are gonna, that want to do you. It seems like all the people who survive are the a-holes that are coming after you. So I love this idea that there's some group of criminals that in the middle of a zombie outbreak they think, okay, well, money is going to be still worth something, so we're going to go pull this awesome heist. And I love that whole idea. And in Vegas, like it's almost like Ocean's 11 meets Dawn of the Dead, but with the military ordinance. And I'm like, it's Three Kings meets Ocean's 11 meets Dawn of the Dead, and I'm like, what a great mashup. I'm so there for that, and it looks great. It looks great. I'm like, that is exactly what I want, because Walking Dead has become so moribund. It's so no one is having fun on that show. I don't understand why don't you all just move to Wyoming, like the least popular state there? Like, why not go there? I know. Like, you could build your land. There's not a lot of zombies there. Like, why are you staying in an area where there's clearly a lot of the undead?
Yeah. Exactly. And
I don't understand. Like, just leave.
Or go to Montana. That's a little bit better. I think. Like, nobody lives in
Joe Montana. You know what I mean? Joe Montana.
I mean, you can drive there in you could probably get to the center of the country, in like 24 hours. Just drive, get in a car, and leave.
Yeah.
I watch this, and after 10 seasons. Whereas I'm like, if there was a zombie outbreak, I would do things like I would go to the headquarters of Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin and steal the actual model of the Enterprise from Star Trek: The Motion Picture that he has on display there. I mean, that's what I would do in a zombie outbreak. I would put the situation to good use.
I can see you running with the model, and like the zombies are chasing you.
Oh yeah, it'll be worth something when the apocalypse is over. I mean, it'll be worth something.
It's a big model, so you'd have to have a pickup truck. But I mean, that's what I would do.
It would be in the middle of the chaos. You'd be running one way, and Robert would be going the other way, like at you. He'd be like, "Get out of the damn way!" He's holding
it's a mint condition.
That's right. Oh God, run!
And you mentioned like The Walking Dead, and spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched like super far into The Walking Dead. It lost me when they killed off Glenn.
It lost a lot of people.
Like they teased 2 episodes before.
They went into that one like neighborhood.
Like the peaceful neighborhood, like the colony, essentially.
And that's where I was just like, I'm done.
I thought that they overdid Negan's character. They like over glorified him, and I thought his character became a little annoying. But at the same time, the story became very repetitive. It was like, okay, what new bad guy are we going to meet this time? You know what I mean? And what army does he have? And how is he going to manipulate everybody else? And
my issue got very repetitive. My main issue was that like 2 episodes before they killed Glenn, they teased that, and everybody's just like, no, and then he turned out to be alive, and then just go ahead and kill him with a freaking baseball bat. And I'm just like, I'm done. I quit. I can't do this anymore. Like, this is just wrong.
I mean, I'd read the comics and things, and I was a fan, but it's just when you're watching it on TV, it seems it just relentless, and it gets to the point where I'm not interested anymore. There's nothing in this show happening that's interesting.
Yeah,
but I still love zombies. I love a good there's still great zombie movies being made. Like did you ever see The Girl with All the Gifts?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's more of a parasitic growth. The people's, but there are certain. There's a really cool. I think it's a Korean movie. I forget what it's called, but about one guy holed up in his apartment during a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, and there's like the girl across the way.
Yeah. I mean, there's interesting stories that you can tell within that context, but it gets to the point where zombie stories have to be allegorical. The story is happening while society is falling apart, and it has to hold your attention. But now it's gotten to the point where, well, how many jerk-offs are there in the post-apocalyptic world?
It's always like,
isn't there any capable person who's going to come in here and you always have like they'll set up like what the Alexandria, the neighborhood that they set up in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like, why would anybody want to destroy that? You want to keep that going, and why? So okay, they're
like, burn it to the ground.
Like why would you possibly want to do that? There's a model of how we can have a self-sustaining civilization within the context of this slowly moving apocalypse. And
I think it's kind of allegorical in and of itself, though, because like you think about it, humans tend to be self-destructive. So like you have kind of that story of like humans destroying the one piece of quiet civilization they have. Like that might be a good allegory of like, oh, people just destroy themselves all the time, whether it be like through decisions they make or, the relationships they have. Like, I guess you can kind of make an allegory in that way. But like, I totally get what you mean. But like, because like if you have a situation where like, oh, it's peaceful here, we don't have to deal with zombies. Why burn this to the ground and risk going out to the woods and getting bit while you're sleeping?
Yeah. I mean, and also like there's that new Walking Dead spinoff about the first generation of kids that have now grown up after the zombie apocalypse has happened.
Yeah, it's Fear the Walking Dead, right?
It's a new one.
No.
Was it called World of the Dead or something?
Oh, yeah, there's another one now. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's sort of interesting. But you'd think that eventually, why aren't the zombies getting to the point where they're rotting away? So they're no longer ambulatory. Apparently, they just get to stay in this one state so where they can walk around forever.
Right.
Well, eventually, wouldn't they just wither away and rot?
They're all in the hex, and you'll find out that Wanda is controlling and keeping them, their skin moist enough to survive.
Why'd you use that word moist?
Because
I like moist.
It's true though. The flesh would have to stay moist enough to where it would not begin to rot and dry
atrophy
up.
And
and so I know initially in the first 2 seasons or maybe 3 seasons, they were trying to show signs of decay. So they went from having zombies that look like just with much more skin on to having zombies that look like they were just falling apart. But then after a while, they were like, okay, well we can't make them fall apart any further than this. So let's just keep it at this standard and just keep it going. But I've heard it's gotten a lot better. I mean, that's what I've heard. However, I have not watched it in quite a while. So.
Yeah.
So Army of the Dead.
Yeah, Army of the Dead will be very, very interesting. Again, May 21st is the release date, which I'm very, very stoked to see. Because it's kind of like the year of Zack Snyder, which is kind of cool. But Ryan actually brought up our next point of discussion, which I think I've heard you speak a little bit about this, Robert. But I'm interested to hear your more full thoughts on WandaVision so far on Disney Plus.
I've been enjoying it thoroughly. If for no other reason that it's so bonkers. Like I heard that it was Kevin Feige's initial idea, and I just have so many questions, and I find it audacious that they led with that show. I mean, they've got Falcon and Winter Soldier debuting in March, March 19th or something?
Yeah, 19th, right.
March 19th. They could have led with that show if they wanted to, but they led with WandaVision, and I think it was pretty smart. Now, I'm going to hold off my final judgment until the final 2 episodes air.
Right.
Because I really hope it sticks the landing. But it's been really interesting to watch because I found it all very intriguing. I think it's beautifully made. But then I've noticed that over the last couple episodes, with everybody speculating about what's going on and the internet burning it up, we're setting ourselves up for our own disappointment.
Yeah.
In the sense that everybody's overthinking this, and although maybe that's part of it. They knew this was going to happen, and these last 2 episodes are going to be like, what is this Luke Skywalker level cameo? Like, I think
thought it was Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, well, wouldn't it be funny if it was like Mark Hamill actually playing Mephistopheles? Then it would really blow everyone's mind. And people would go, "Oh my god!" But
it makes so much sense.
I get the reference now.
I get the reference.
I just think that it's so funny to watch, and then people write in and go, "I was disappointed in last night's episode." I'm like, I think because we're expecting these shocking revelations every episode, like you're supposed, and I find that's weird about modern fandom. Like everything needs to be mind blowing. Like if everything doesn't rock your world by the end, if it doesn't. And what about just enjoying? I mean, I've been enjoying the journey on WandaVision because it's so strange, and I'm like, I can't believe this even got made. Yeah. It's so wacky that they've done all this, and I like all of these intriguing questions. And clearly, the level of detail that's put into this show this show is so well thought out. It's so well made,
like all the Easter eggs, and like hints and everything. Like
all of that. So that just shows to me. My whole thing is about authorship. The people that made this show, did they make the show they wanted to make? And I think 100% yes. In the case of WandaVision, they knew what they were making. They've made exactly what they wanted to make, and I think we're all the richer for it. So no, and Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany have just been crushing it. Their performances are and Catherine Hahn. I mean, everybody's
doing an outstanding job.
Dennings,
outstanding.
It's everybody's been great, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I mean, we've got probably about 90 minutes left of story before we get to the end, maybe. And I really hope that it ends. I just think it's really interesting that they've set up this whole idea of the multiverse that's probably going to begin here, carries over into Spider-Man 3, carries over into Doctor Strange 2. And I like that. I think that's really interesting. And again, it shows a tremendous amount of pre-planning. I mean, if that book, that is the Darkhold, and it did come out of the Sanctum Sanctorum, and it goes back all the way to Doctor Strange when they had all the books that were inset inside those hex There's hexes around all the books when in the Ancient One's library. So and you see all the different colors of magic. Dormammu's eyes were purple, and Doctor Strange as opposed to red, like the magic Wanda wields. I just think that the level of detail, it just shows how much time and thought is put into the MCU, and I like that.
Well, they even called the thing the Hex,
right?
That they're living in. So it's just it all ties in together. So I mean, I'm interested.
And if you think about it, I mean, WandaVision is a sequel to Captain Marvel because Monica Rambeau, we met her as a little girl.
Yes,
in Captain Marvel.
Yes,
and then it's also a sequel to Age of Ultron, and it's a sequel. It ties into
X-Men Future Past.
Yeah, X-Men Days of Future Past. No, it really is though. It really is, because even if that turns out to be Peter or not, someone had to within universe, somebody had to look through the multiverse and find Evan Peters' version of Quicksilver in order to even make a fake version of him.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And that's really, to me, that's very, very intriguing. Which means, I mean, are they going to say then that the Sony Spider-Verse is actually part of the MCU? Is that part of the multiverse? I mean, to me, they've done nothing. We haven't seen Morbius yet, but in Venom, there's nothing to say it took place in San Francisco. Why couldn't Venom be taking place in the MCU? It could. We don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's nothing there's nothing contradictory there.
So how do you think it's going to connect to Spider-Man: Home Sweet Home?
You mean
No Way Home?
Well, I think we're going to find out that whatever's going on with Evan Peters, Spider-Man: Far From Home, the appearance of J. Jonah Jameson as
at the end, that's awesome.
That I think that is the first we saw. We just didn't know what we were seeing. Is the first manifestation in the MCU that we see of whatever dimensional or multiverse problem exists. That's why J. Jonah Jameson is in the MCU, because he is part of another universe that somehow is now in our. J.K. Simmons has somehow made it from being editor of the Daily Bugle in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies to being an online pundit in the MCU.
Right,
and I think it's the same guy.
I think it's a different version of him because he's bald in this one, right? They didn't give him the hair. So
but that doesn't mean he couldn't have shaved his head. He just got.
Well, no. I'm not saying that's
time has elapsed.
He went to prison because he released Doomsday on Superman. Then they shaved his head, and then he became.
No, but I do think that that's the first indication we're going to go back and be like, oh,
yeah, because I mean, it ended on a cliffhanger with him being outed, and J. Jonah Jameson, being on the big video monitor, saying what he said, and you wonder what's he going to do. But yeah, it could easily lead to there's a bigger crisis happening in terms of the multiverse, and that's why I was like, okay, then it's going to die right into that.
I will say that, I like how you pointed out, Robert, that a lot of people with this WandaVision show may be building up their expectations too high to the point where they get disappointed. That's kind of where, I have some of my hesitations on, because, as soon as Evan Peters came on the set as that version of Quicksilver, everybody's like, oh, the X-Men are coming in, and I just keep going back.
That was me.
It was you.
I was like,
so you're the people I'm talking about.
That's it. But, you're the problem.
But essentially, I still cling on to the trailer for Far From Home.
Klingons. That's Star Trek.
I know. Just let me make my point. But I still hold on to that thought that I had when the trailer from Far From Home came out, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man said, "Oh, so there's a multiverse," and everybody flipped the hell out. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna do the multiverse!" And then we had our reveal of Mysterio in the bar scene, and there was none of that multiverse stuff. So as a fan who was really expecting big things multiverse wise when it was mentioned before, I'm out on that side where I'm just kind of hesitant to think about that again, because part of me feels like it'd be a funny, ironic thing for this Evan Peters version of Quicksilver to just simply be a guy from the MCU who Agatha just simply used as a pawn to try to quick Wanda. But then again, that's kind of a pessimistic point of view for me. But
well, there's a reason.
Could have used anybody though.
Yeah, they could have picked any actor.
Yeah.
They went and did.
That's true.
And I think that I think Mysterio bringing up the multiverse. And look, if it turns out that J. Jonah Jameson is a multiverse version of that character, it does mean that what was being talked about in Spider-Man: Far From Home, who's to say it's not going to be revealed that Mysterio is from the multiverse?
Sure.
Possibly.
We don't, which could be setting up the whole thing, and that's we just didn't know it at the time. and I think that's a pretty interesting way to go. And again, because doing another build up to a Thanos Infinity War Endgame thing, I think it's too ambitious. I think what we're seeing now, and what Kevin Feige was saying yesterday, he was talking about, as reported in Deadline, he was talking about how some of these Marvel shows are only going to get one season. Others might get other seasons, but it's all about telling stories that dip in and out of the Marvel continuity. So I wouldn't expect there to be a second season of WandaVision.
Oh no,
because then you have to go and resolve the Tom Hardy, Topher Grace, Venom sort of interaction that they're going to have, no doubt.
The thing is, but they could very well do something like that. I mean, if they're bringing back Electro and they're bringing back Dr. Octopus, I mean, there is, and look into the Spider-Verse. They already, like I was saying on my show yesterday, it never occurred to me, but I was thinking about it. The more I think about it, I wouldn't be surprised if there was an animated segment in Spider-Man No Way Home where we see Tom Holland interact with the animated Miles Morales in his universe.
That would be really cool.
That would be interesting.
Because I could see, I have no knowledge of this or not, but I'm like, if I was making that movie, I would totally do that.
Yeah, I mean, they're both Sony properties, so
I would, and that's how you introduce Miles Morales for the first time. Because how cool would that be?
Yeah,
well, they kind of did introduce him in by way of Lando. Who played Lando?
But he wasn't that character though.
Donald Glover.
No, he was the uncle.
Yeah, Donald Glover. Yeah.
Donald Glover. He played the uncle of Miles Morales. So that person does exist.
That's the live action version.
Yeah,
but with the
you're talking about like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or
exactly.
It's a great movie,
and it would be something along those lines. Now I don't know if they're going to do that, but I mean, if I was making that movie, if I was John Watts, I'd be like, we should totally do that, because why not?
Yeah,
I mean, then in the fourth Spider-Man movie, Home Run, you could have Spider Ham come in and he and Tom Holland
with John
go on an
Mulaney.
Adventure together, and Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Nicolas Cage is like my favorite part of that Spider-Verse movie. It's like sometimes let a match burn my fingertips just to feel anything.
Yeah.
Oh. well, here, let me ask you this, Robert. Do you think that if this whole Spider-Man 3 is successful, which it likely is going to be, do you think that Sony will then say, hey, you know what, why don't we try and make another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man? Or do you think this is just a one and done for both those, for both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire?
No, I think it's probably one and done.
Okay.
If they're in the movie, as has been reported, I think it's probably just one and done, because the MCU Spider-Man is where Sony is owns, and that's what they put their. I don't think they're going to make. There'd be too much confusion in the marketplace.
I agree. Yeah. I think the most confusion you're going to have is the three Batmen coming. Right. Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, and Pattinson.
They're like, who's Batman? I don't get it.
Yeah, okay, who's Batman?
Yep.
Is that Bruce Wayne?
Yeah. So Anthony, you've been quiet. Your thoughts?
Oh yeah. Go back to the beginning. Let's talk about WandaVision,
Anthony. Speak your thoughts, my friend. We're gonna give you some pressure. Here you go.
Nah. When you think of WandaVision, what thoughts?
I think it's definitely got me. Not from the beginning though. Beginning the first 3 or 4 episodes, I'm like, I don't know if I can continue to watch this. But after that, once they started, there's things started to happen. The show kind of got me, so I'm looking forward to episodes from week to week, and now we just got 2 left, so I'm just anxious to see what's going to happen. But yeah, at the beginning was not that interested in it, and now I'm just they've put some stuff out there, so.
Yeah, I think it was smart of them to put the first 2 episodes out at the same time to kind of get through the slower parts first and then build their way into the more exciting parts of the show that more people could vibe with. Because, if, I'm one of those people that I love sitcoms to a certain extent, but, if the entire show would have been like that sitcom style they did at first, it'd have been okay, maybe not too into this, but the fact they, played on that and then they went outside of that. As soon as they went outside what was happening in the Hex, I was like, okay, now I'm intrigued. Because they introduced all these different characters and like the different things that they're seeing from the outside. It's like, okay, this is actually pretty interesting. So we mentioned Multiverse, talking about WandaVision. Now I kind of wanted to go to the other side of comic book things and talk about Multiverse on the other side with some recent news about Sasha Calle as Supergirl. Because we all saw that video from Andy Muschietti, right, talking to Sasha. I kind of want to know your I guess, reaction to that, Robert, and how Andy did that and like what that might mean in your own opinion.
Well, I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, clearly, you know, when a studio puts that kind of faith in an actress and announces that actress, they're really there's a lot of faith that's been put into her. Yeah. So I'm sure she blew everybody away with her audition, or if she was testing with Ezra Miller or something, that they had some chemistry and it really worked out well. So the studio is, and if you look at it, the young kids in it were part one were really well cast. So I think that this kind of casting, obviously he's seen something in her. So and look, I'm not one of these people that's like, but she's not blonde. I'm like, who cares? Like, I don't care. You know, neither is Jason Momoa. And he's a great Aquaman. Well, I mean,
like, it was Michael B. Jordan. You know?
Even Superman Returns, he didn't have blue eyes. He had to have contacts.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
I just think that, you know, now it's being that she's from Krypton, I don't think it really matters. I think with Supergirl, part of the reason they made her blonde in the comics was she was a contrast to Superman's dark hair.
Right.
You know, so it doesn't bother me. I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm more interested in what the character will look like in the costume. How are they going to do the costume? I mean, that always is something I think about. But again, for me, until I see casting, if somebody casts somebody, like when Heath Ledger was cast as a Joker, I love the movie The Lords of Dogtown, where he plays Skip Engblom, who was one of the founders of Dogtown skateboards in the 70s in Venice. And his performance was so amazing. I'm like, oh, he could play the Joker. And everyone else, all the fanboys, are like, why is he playing the Joker? I'm
He's
like,
only in rom-coms.
Yeah, I mean, he's an actor, and obviously, if Christopher Nolan cast him as the Joker, there's something there.
Yes.
It was interesting because I have a good friend of mine who actually at the time was working for DC, worked on films for DC, all the different projects, and he called me up one day and he's like, dude, he couldn't tell me anything about Dark Knight, but he said, I've been watching Heath Ledger. People are going to freak out when they see his performance. They have no idea. And coming from him, I'm like, really? And he's like, oh, anything you think you know, you don't know. And I'm like, and then going to that, I remember seeing the movie the first time. I couldn't believe it. You know?
Oh, it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
I remember watching it, and my dad and my dad sometimes will express himself while watching a movie. He'll say like, "Oh, that was cool," or "That was awesome." But when the Joker came in and did the pencil trick, my dad burst into laughter. He's like, "That was great. That was fantastic." Yeah. That's when I knew I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be dang good."
Because you know what you want an actor to. I think it's the dream of every filmmaker. When an actor comes in the room, you're hoping that an actor will take whatever. An actor can say lines of dialogue, but what you really want is you want an actor to take those lines of dialogue and lift them off the page, make them their own, and turn them into something unexpected. And Heath Ledger's performance is completely a choice. It was a choice he made in how to approach that character with all the mannerisms and the work that he put into that. That's why it is what it is. And you're hoping, I mean, you're not hoping every performance is, of course, the Joker, but you're hoping that an actor takes something and makes it their own and makes it something memorable. And when you have a movie full of memorable performances, that's what we love. You know, that's we want to have these characters that are unforgettable, or that we want to buy Hot Toys figures of and own.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you mentioned an interesting thing about like fans freaking out of casting and stuff, and the same thing goes with Sasha. I find it so funny, but like I'm guilty of this too. Like whenever I see someone cast, and I'm like, I don't know if I see that, but like it's funny how us fans can sometimes think that we know better about casting than the casting director of the film.
Yeah.
And yet we didn't see the audition. We didn't see things that maybe this actor is capable of that they haven't shown in a movie yet. Like, we think, oh, we've seen them in this movie. Like, I don't see it at all. It's like, well, obviously the director saw something in them. And the one thing that I loved about the Sasha Calle casting is that it proved to me that they, you know, because you hate to see people getting cast just for being typecast. You hate people just being cast because they look the part and maybe their performance isn't great. But with Sasha Calle and all these other people being cast, like, again, you know, Ezra Miller being a dark-haired guy playing Barry Allen, who's traditionally blonde, they're looking for the performance rather than typecasting somebody that just simply looks like them. And I like that. It shows they're prioritizing the talent over just simply the visuals of the character.
Right. And I think when you're making a movie, you know, it's funny that, and I'm guilty of this too as a lifelong comic book reader. We want the characters to be representations of how they looked in the comics.
Yeah.
You know,
you want to see from page to film, you know, sort of that kind of carry over.
Yeah. And so like I'm a huge New Teen Titans fan. I started with the Perez Marv Wolfman version when Cyborg was created. Yeah. And it's like, look, if they cast a white dude as Cyborg, it would bother me, not because it's, they've race swapped it, but to me, there's certain things about that character of Cyborg that Vic Stone, he's got to be black. I mean, it's part of the identity of that character. And it's not just because I was reading Cyborg from the time that he was first created, but it's like, that's something that to me, you can't really change because it's a part of that identity. But for Supergirl, there's no reason why she can't be a different Earth ethnicity because she's a fucking alien.
Yeah,
you know, so
exactly.
it's like, so I'm not necessarily married to that. That kind of thing doesn't bother me. So I guess even me as a comic book fan, there are different degrees of things that I will accept, different degrees of change. Right. But with Supergirl, blonde or dark hair, I think, look, if the girl's a great actress, then she should get the part, and I'm sure that she will be. And I think this movie's so bonkers the way they've Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, and so you have a girl who's Latina Supergirl. Who cares about that? I mean, if she's a great actress.
Yeah, at this point, it really shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
No, if the movie's great, I'll get a hot toy of her, and I'll have her right up.
There you go.
That's the way to look at it.
They'll call her Super Mummy.
Yeah.
During that video, though, when Andy Muschietti held up the suit. Obviously the logo, the Superman logo, was the same logo from what's that?
That's a 4Nerd logo.
Yeah, the one on my chest. Yes, actually, on my plan, this means awesome. But anyway,
your planet got destroyed.
Yeah, it got destroyed. So it was the same logo as one we see on Henry Cavill. So I mean, do you think that there'll be some kind of connection between this Supergirl and what we're seeing in Justice League, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, Henry Cavill's Superman?
I think probably so. I mean, and again, this movie has a multiverse component, so they had that. Remember that Superman costume existed in the end of Shazam too.
It did,
yes.
You know, and so it's not unprecedented in. Like, to me, I like the idea of a loose continuity, where if you want to have Henry Cavill come back and play Superman, he can. You know, just like Robert Pattinson's Batman is going to be in whatever other continuity they have. I don't think that's really a problem as long as we get it. Yeah. We're now, the movie going audience is now well versed enough between the quantum realm, between WandaVision, between whatever multiverse you're talking about. Everybody gets it. You know, I mean, while I like continuity in my Star Trek and I like continuity in my MCU, because they've always had it. I think that if they decide to move away from continuity via the multiverse, that's okay. I just give me a great story. You know, because I grew up a James Bond fan, and there's no continuity between those movies at all until the Daniel Craig era, where they tried to create continuity, and I think it's to its detriment, actually.
Yeah,
and so that it doesn't. As long as you give me a great story, and if you look at, you know, comic book continuity itself, it depends what writer and artist team is working on the book. And sometimes, like when Grant Morrison came over and took X-Men over, it's like he created his brand new his own continuity.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, exactly. What I found interesting about that reveal is that not only did they use the Henry Cavill suit, but they also used the John Williams theme, appealing to both sides of Superman fandom.
Yes.
And because I think they're trying to do that more and more. I mean, we'll talk about the latest show on the CW here in a little bit, kind of going to that realm. But I did like that they tried to appeal to both sides, and I think Warner Brothers and AT&T and all of them realize that they kind of have to do that a bit. That they need to try to appeal to both sides in order to like try to mend some things. Because right now there's some places that it's kind of a toxic environment when you talk about Superman, because like you have a lot of people who really cling on to the Christopher Reeve version and the classic version, and you have another side who's gun-ho completely on Henry Cavill, and then there's a couple people like that are stuck in the middle of like, well, I appreciate Reeve and I love Henry Cavill. So it's like it's that interesting world where Warner Bros. Like, well, we have these split fandoms. Let's try to appeal to both of them to try to put us in good graces with them.
Right.
I just think they're playing it safe.
Yeah. They're just playing it. I mean, they're playing both sides and saying, "Hey, look, it's a Supergirl it's Superman, connection, but you don't know where it's coming from." So, and for all we know, she could be an entirely different iteration of the character in another universe. Hey, in this universe, there is no Superman; it's Supergirl, and this is her. It just depends on which direction they're going to want to go in. But I'm still looking forward to The Flash. I think it's going to be a really good movie. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be really challenging to see how they're going to fit all these characters into this storyline, and how it's going to connect or not connect to the universes that they already have established.
Right. And I'm kind of hoping personally with like all the different people that will be making cameos in this movie, I hope most of those are just like passing glances, like in the Speed Force when Ezra Miller's Flash is going through time. And like, for example, people want to see Grant Gustin appear. I think the only time that I'd want to see him in the movie is like if they intersect paths in the Speed Force, like they're going to different dimensions and different times. I think that would make the most sense. But I don't know. I feel like it'll be very interesting to see how they try to handle the multiverse aspect and how they treat Ezra Miller's Flash, especially after Zack Snyder's Justice League. We'll probably see a slightly altered version because, again, it's kind of what Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers both kind of want in a way, of course, for different reasons. They want that creative freedom for the directors, which, like you said, Robert, it's kind of freeing when you have that loose continuity.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always cool. Like I've said this a lot before, but when I was growing up, I loved the Justice League of America comics. And my favorite thing every year when I was a kid was when the Justice Society and the Justice League teamed up together. Yeah. And the Justice Society being on Earth 2 was about 30 years behind Earth 1. If that was explaining. And I loved that idea. And I love when these characters would get together and like you'd see two Supermen and they were 30 years apart and one had gray hair. And I even though he was our Superman was much younger than the older Superman. I liked all that because it was really interesting watching two characters that were the same character interact, but they were different people. And they had different insights into each other's lives and things like that. And I think it'll be interesting. I just find it interesting that both the DC universe and the Marvel Cinematic Universe are embracing the idea of the multiverse at the same time. Because as I was saying on my show yesterday, I'm willing to bet you. Now, again, I say this, I have no knowledge of this. This is just speculation on my part. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was a big deal when I was a kid. There was a Treasury edition, and it was Superman and Spider-Man. And it was published. It was published by the Marvel and DC teamed up, and it was a big, oversized comic, and it was awesome. I'm willing to bet you, and I said yesterday by 2026 that we'll see a Marvel DC team up movie.
Wow, interesting.
I think we're gonna because look, if they can make it work with Sony,
right?
Why? Who wouldn't want to go see that? Right. And studios have teamed up before to make movies.
Sure.
If they're already opening up this idea of the multiverse, I think it's only a matter of time before we see that. I mean, who wouldn't? Can you imagine? How do you make a movie bigger than Infinity War and Endgame?
You have
the Avengers and the Hulk fighting each other.
Yeah, I mean, and that would be. It would be the kind of get somebody like I was just a joke, but get like James Cameron to direct it.
Oh,
not that he would, but
Right.
But I
Right.
think I think even you go back and you look at the comic books. Kevin Feige, he's smart. He's like, I don't need to sit here and hire some director or screenwriter to come up with some original story. He's like, we already have everything we need. We've got the entire 70-year plus. Well, actually, if you go back further than Marvel, we've got the entire history of these comic characters through the 20th century and the 21st century, and everything that we need is already here. Which stories are we going to mine? And they're not going to be like the Winter Soldier film came right out of Ed Brubaker's run in the comics, in the Captain America comics. So Ed Brubaker does this. They go adapt that comic series, and you get a movie like the Winter Soldier film. It's great.
Yeah.
And so,
Fire, dude.
and
So
Kevin
that
Feige,
was a great one.
yeah, Kevin Feige knows it's right here. Whereas other directors and franchises, they're like, well, I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to make this thing, and then we get something that's underwhelming, like when, and it's just it's weird. Whereas I think the genius of Kevin Feige is he knows everything we need has already been here, and he's not afraid to go back into previously existing stories and then crediting those comics creators for those stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not?
No, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be totally
love
down for
those
that.
movies.
I mean, take my money. At this point, just like take my money. And kind of transitioning from that, unless somebody else had anything to say about Sasha, Calle, and Supergirl, I kind of want to go into something that just aired last night, premiered last night on the CW, which is, it's kind of funny that I'm talking about something with the CW because I haven't really kept up with that since like the first couple seasons of Arrow and such. But last night was the premiere of Superman and Lois. And I'm assuming that most, if not everybody, saw the premiere of this.
Yeah, I watched it.
I'm glad you did, Ryan. I'm glad you did.
Just wanted to preface, I have seen it.
But we were kind of talking about how Sasha Calle's reveal of being Supergirl had, the Cavill suit and the John Williams theme. I kind of want to know, Robert, your thoughts on Superman and Lois's kind of obvious attempt to branch off to both sides of Superman fandom in their version of Superman for this show.
Well, first of all, I love seeing the classic Action Comics / Max Fleischer Superman animated series.
I loved that too. Yeah,
and I'm like, my mom made it for me. Well, that's what a great way to show fealty to the whole mythology of Superman. I thought that was so great. But I have to tell you, what Superman Returns was trying to do. I thought that Superman and Lois actually did a really good job of. I mean, the idea of there's a real problem with making a good Superman story because Superman is so powerful. Mm-hmm. You need to give him a different kind of a conflict than somebody he's going to beat up. Mm-hmm. And I think saddling him with I don't know if they're twins, but two teenage boys are I thought that was a great idea. And I mean, it kind of moves the continuity forward from the rest of the CW, which I think is great too.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I mean, and the what they're going to have to deal with, and what I'm like, here's a great way to plant your flag, saying we're going to do something different. Mm-hmm. And the relationship he has, I thought it was great. I really was very surprising. It was much more adult. Like the CW shows have been, quite frankly, a little goofy. Well, they seem
like they're on TV.
Yes.
Well, like they're
yes. That's exactly.
I mean, that's what it is. It just seems like it's.
Well, I mean, it's just every hero set up on the CW always has a team. Team this, team that, team who gives a shit. And I'm just so tired of like every hero has to have this support group that he goes to or she goes to that has to get the next mission or filler episode or whatever, and it gets mundane because it's the same, but it's the same for each character. It's just like I mean, it gets boring after a while.
It was like I was talking to my sister earlier today, and she was a huge fan of the Flash in the earlier seasons, and she's like,
everybody
she told
was.
me. Yeah, she told me, she's like, they lost me when was Iris who said, no, we are the Flash. And my sister's like, that's when I clicked and turned it off. I was like, oh, all right. So kind of what you were saying, Ryan, but like, you talk about Robert, that first appearance suit. I honestly liked that suit more than I liked the regular suit he's going to be using in the show. I thought the muscle padding looked better. I thought the material looked better. I just overall thought it was a better looking suit than the normal suit, which is odd because like I usually find myself liking more the modern takes of the suit, like the New 52 design, or, you know, some of the Rebirth stuff, but like more the modern takes. But that one I was just like, okay, that's a classic Superman suit done pretty well for the CW standards.
Right. No, I agree. But yeah, it's true. It sometimes I like the retro look. You know, I was playing with my right here my Christopher Reeve hot toy.
Oh my goodness!
Here he is.
Look at that.
Here
that
he
is beautiful.
Yeah, it's
at arm's reach.
It's I was showing it yesterday on a show, but even though this is an older Hot Toys figure, it's still a great. This suit is so iconic.
I still love the suit. I you know, and I'm cool with the underwear on the outside. That's fine. I love
that. I love the cape.
Yeah,
I love the S on the back.
S on the back. Everything.
Yeah,
you know, that's awesome. I mean, and the same thing with the one that he was wearing at the beginning of the show, where he had the trunks on the outside, and it was still fine. It was a nice breakup. You know, of course he didn't. You know, he didn't have him in the other suit, but yeah, I mean, the padding, his shoulder padding, was what really kind of threw me off. Was like, wow, that's really extra padding. And it just looked odd. I mean, the suit's fine if they just like kind of like shrunk that a little bit. Or
I thought he looked
Tyler into the gym and make him work out to play the part of Superman.
Put him on the steroids.
No,
but he did look a little Shazam-y, where it was like, hey, I don't think those are totally all your muscles. You know, because it's like sticking up, you know, past, you know, his chest.
What would have been funny is if they kept the muscle padding, but then had him like put his Clark Kent, you know, dress on, and he's like walking around like this, you know,
with regular clothes on,
normal clothes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. I thought you were gonna say something on.
No, I was, and I stopped.
But you know, we were talking before about the combination of different elements. I think one thing that Superman and Lois's premiere episode did a really great job of is giving us that classic, more Christopher Reeve style Clark Kent.
Yes.
But they also had a lot of very Zack Snyder-esque cinematography in there as well, which I thought was kind of interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep up that quality.
No, I mean, you know, if you look at Man of Steel, the whole movie's handheld.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I thought that was a really interesting choice. And I'm a big Man of Steel fan. I really like the Man of Steel movie for what it is. And like when I saw it the first time, I'm like, oh, this is a science fiction. You know, they've always leaned into the Americana version of the Superman myth, but this is leaning into the science fiction elements of the Superman myth. And I thought that was really interesting. I mean, a lot of people didn't, but I'm like, what do you think would happen if two Kryptonians were fighting above an American city?
Destroy the city.
And it was the first time, like one of my favorite comic books ever, my favorite superhero comic books ever is when Alan Moore was writing Miracle Man. And it was Miracle Man 15, and I think it's Kid Miracle Man. Kid Miracle Man, the villain, is killing civilians and putting their heads on pikes in the city until Miracle Man shows up, just slaughtering people. And you're waiting for this battle occurs, and I'm like, well, if you had a superpowered fanatic, you know, somebody who was completely amoral, that's the kind of shit that would happen. And this idea, it's so funny to me because people are like, well, Superman should be looking out for civilians. I'm like, Superman doesn't even know what the hell's happening in Man of Steel.
He's been on the job for one day.
He's been on the job for one day, and suddenly there's aliens and world engines and like what? Like, and you want
the military?
You want him to like save people? Like he doesn't even know. He's looking around, going, what is going on? And when
like,
people always say that, like he lets civilians die, I'm like, he's not even thinking about civilians. He's like, the world is ending, and what am I supposed to do? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty
that
much.
Was one thing about Avengers: Age of Ultron. The one line that I thought was pretty funny was that when Hawkeye is trying to tell Wanda, like, "Come on, like you need to fight," and she was like, "You know, I don't know if I can do this." He was like, he goes, "What is it?" He's like, "There were robots trying to kill us." Or trying to shoot at us, and I'm shooting at them with arrows. None of this makes any sense.
That movie, by the way, gets better and better as the years go by. Yeah. I'm a big fan of that movie. I liked it when I saw it, but I didn't like it as much. Now I think I like it more just because of what's happened since then. And there's really great, especially seeing, you know, where Vision's gone and how I think the That's why, I mean, what's so funny to me now about our nerd culture is we're finally getting, like, when I saw Avengers in 2012, I was sitting in the theater and I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this.
Right.
Like, I can't believe this even exists. And I was thinking, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, if I was sitting in 2002, if I'd be sitting in a movie theater watching an Avengers movie, I would have said, no.
Yeah, you're mind.
How do you introduce all these characters? How do you make Thor and Asgard work with Captain America, work with Tony Stark? Like, how? No. And then when I was sitting watching this movie, I'm just like, I can't. And how wildly entertaining I found it. I'm like, I am wildly entertained by this, and it's. I think we forget now. It's like, what people are always telling me, like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies are so corporate. They're so safe. They're like they're entertainment for the masses. And I'm like, that's how that's what they're designed to be. That's how they make money. As if that's easy to do. Like, I'm just, what people don't understand is what they've accomplished. You know, even when, like, whether it's Thor: The Dark World or Iron Man 2 or maybe Captain Marvel or Incredible Hulk, some of the movies that people haven't liked as much, those movies are still pretty good. Like, in terms of people
entertainment value.
Yeah. Iron Man 2. They spent too much time setting up the MCU. Like, as if that's a bad thing. And I'm like, who doesn't want to watch Mickey Rourke as Whiplash cut a F1 car in half in Monaco? Like, come on, man. I mean, look what we're getting. And look where it's based on the Marvel Comics universe. Like, what do you expect? I want to ask people, like, what are you expecting it to be? Like, is it supposed to be Saving Private Ryan? Is it supposed to be Lawrence of Arabia? Like, if you don't, I'm not saying that you have to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's exactly as it was designed to be. You know, it's and it works even better because of first of all, the casting, the costumes. Who would have thought all those costumes would work on screen together? You know, the design, it doesn't look exactly like but that Benedict Cumberbatch Doctor Strange suit is fucking the best.
The good thing is that they all are believable to be in the same world.
And they look. When you look at those characters, you're not like, I didn't know that's supposed to be Doctor Strange. It looks like Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
it really does. And it's the cloak has a mind of its own. I mean, it's just, I watch this stuff and I'm like, why are people complaining? It's exactly what it's supposed to be. And like, everybody wants to watch Gwen Stacy die in every movie? You're supposed to have that kind of pathos? Like, what is it you want? And it's like, these are wild popcorn entertainments. You know what I think it's akin to me? The Marvel Cinematic Universe, in terms of its tone and entertainment value, is like Back to the Future. Back to the Future is not necessarily. Back to the Future is a wildly entertaining movie. Is it dark? No, but you've got things like, hey, mom's
alternate 1985. Yes.
Well, yes. Well, that's Back to the Future too.
Yeah, but it has those dark elements where they kind of splash into that, but then they come right back to where, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but
married
the thing
to
is,
your mother.
I know, but back to the Future.
You want them, you can have them.
You want them back?
Yeah. You want these things?
Oh, great! Now we got Ryan and Andre on a roll here.
I love those movies so much. Oh my god, that's why everyone was in the theater twice.
Great freaking flick.
But no, I mean, it's the same kind of movie, you know, in terms of that entertainment value.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they slowly built up the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, I was wondering, if you go back and you watch Iron Man 1, it's almost an intimate character study of a man trying to discover, he's learning about the error of his ways. And the big fight is with his former mentor for who's going to run Stark Industries. It's not like it's some apocalyptic, and you watch Iron Man and then you're like, well, how is this going to work with Thor? Like the Rainbow Bridge and Asgard but it does. You meet Thor and it's like, oh, and then Captain America. I mean, if you go back and you watch that now, and go back, I like the first Avenger. It's got, you're at the World's Fair. There's all kind of pulpy sci-fi and super soldier elements at the beginning with the Nazis, then being pumped up, and like, for whatever reason, all three of those movies, when you watch them all, you're like, oh, I'll buy into that, and then you can't wait. And remember, those movies were successful, but they weren't huge box office bonanzas. They did well. Like, no one thought Iron Man would, I don't know, would it make $400 million worldwide or something? and it, I mean, that's really respectable, but it's not like it's $1 billion blockbuster. And over the course of since 2008, if you see where the Marvel Cinematic Universe has come, it's because it was curated and really well thought out. And Kevin Feige's doing crazy things like, I'm going to hire James Gunn. He'd only made movies up to $3 million, but why not give him $175 million to make Guardians of the Galaxy? I mean, this is
that
Kevin
was
Feige.
The one right there. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, in my opinion, that was the biggest surprise when that went into production. Yeah. I thought that would be the one. Okay, I said, I think out of all the movies that they're making, Guardians of the Galaxy will suffer the most because no one knows who they are. Yeah. And then when I saw it, I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
This is really good.
That was me. Like, I went to the theater full expecting, like you said, I was like, they went too far. They went too far. No one's going to understand this. And then
I was like, Star-Lord. Okay, I know who he is, but I don't think anyone else knows. The mass majority, the regular public, they don't know what the hell this is. And they did it. And I thought it was really good. The first one.
I mean, you knew it was so smart. I'm Star-Lord. Jaimin Hansu's like, who?
Yeah.
And that was the audience, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was so great to start with that sort of, well, you got the scene of young Peter Quill, but then when you first meet him over the opening credits, it's kind of like a funny version of invading the temple in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he just kind of waltzes in.
That's a great callback.
And you're looking at it going, okay, I totally get this guy, except he's just having a good time. He's having a lark, like, hey, what's up? I'm here on this planet dancing around. One of
the greatest scenes in Endgame. Was it Endgame? I think it was, where he's dancing. And you don't hear the music, but he's still doing the thing.
Yeah.
I love that part.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I first watched Guardians of the Galaxy, and there was a scene with young Peter Quill and his mom and the alien ship, I still thought it was like a trailer for like a movie or something. I didn't think that it actually started. I was just like, "What is happening?" And then the Marvel credits happened, and I was like, "Oh, freak! Okay, this is the movie. All right."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have to go back and watch that again. Earlier, Robert, about Man of Steel and being sci-fi, I loved the Krypton elements.
Yep.
I love the technology. I love the sort of world building that was going on with that. I wanted to see more of what was going on before they set Cal off. You know, I mean, just I really thought that it was really well thought out, like all of it. I really dug that.
Yeah, me too.
Agreed.
And I think that's all we can ask. The fact that we have 23 movies that comprise the entire Infinity Saga is amazing, and they still resonate now.
Yeah, and I was like, after watching Avengers 1, I was like, wow, they did it. They brought an ensemble cast. This is awesome. Can't wait for Justice League.
And then 2017 happened.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like boo fail.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, when you compare to where these movies have come, I mean, obviously, Batman '89 was a success. Superman with Christopher Reeves was a success, but we hadn't seen it done in a more modern way. When they did X-Men worked, but they also played it extremely safe. Their costumes were Matrix, all black.
It was all black,
leather.
All leather. But I mean, they didn't take that leap of faith. That risk of, hey, we're going to make them look comic accurate to a degree, but also make it realistic to the sense of like, hey, you're not going to wear skin tights and be a little bit different.
Although I do love the reference they have. Like, would you expect yellow tights?
Yeah,
yellow reference.
Little spandex.
When I was in the theater, I was like, yes.
Please. How about in part 2? No,
part 2.
When they teased it in Deadpool, the Wolverine costume in the briefcase or whatever, I was like,
that was the Wolverine.
Yeah, that was Wolverine movie.
That wasn't Deadpool.
It was. Oh, I thought it was Deadpool. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the brown Wolverine costume. Yeah,
right.
That was a deleted scene.
Yes, it was. You're right. I was like, damn. That doesn't look too bad. I was like, they could have made something work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he had a good point, though, James Mangold. He said, he took it out because he felt that if he would have left it in the movie, then that would have forced whoever else is going to make a Wolverine movie or have Wolverine in the movie to put him in the costume. So he was like, I don't want to force that. So,
well, the deleted scene got released anyway, and they still had that pressure, and they still didn't do it. So, like,
they still didn't do it. Yeah, they didn't care.
No, it is what it is. Oh my goodness gracious! But anyway, so. With that, I know we don't have a whole lot more time with you, Robert, but I did want to go over another topic or two with you about something that recently came out, and that was the Mortal Kombat trailer for the new upcoming movie. I'm sure you have like all the Mortal Kombat toys you can think of, back there somewhere.
I actually don't. I mean,
what?
I know I like Mortal Kombat, but I was never. I mean, I played the game, but I was never an acolyte. But I love that trailer.
Yeah.
The trailer.
I mean, to me, that trailer is exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, in Sub-Zero, the whole thing with the when he freezes the dude's blood and kills him with it. I'm like, that's exactly. I heard fatality, right there. I'm like, yes, that's what I wanted. That's exact. It seems to me that they've made exactly the movie they were supposed to make. Yeah. It's kind of like I felt it's not really a perfect analogy, but when I saw the first trailer for Deadpool, I'm like, okay. I'm like, how are they going to make me care about this movie? And when I saw. I mean, I cared about a Deadpool movie, but I'm like, how is this going to work? And when I saw the first trailer, I'm like, all right, and I loved the first Deadpool because it worked as a great, it was a great revenge movie. It worked as a great Deadpool movie. And then it was just a good movie. It worked on so many levels. It was so well done and so well conceived. Yeah. I see that when I saw that Mortal Kombat trailer, I'm like, okay, these people know exactly what they're making. Mm-hmm. And they seem to have made exactly what they were supposed to have made. And that was kind of neat. I mean, that's how I felt about I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see this movie. Yeah,
because they had all the elements of like, they had the brutality in there and they had all the different catchphrases and they also had a little bit of seriousness in there with like the tournament setting that up and the tone and the feel and the coloring of everything. Like, I feel like you're exactly right. They looked at this and they're like, okay, we're going to make this and we know exactly what we're going to do. Yeah. We know exactly how we're going to do it to where people are going to be very, very excited. And I think, to me, one of the most impressive things about the trailer was actually how they did the arms for Jax. Like, how great that metal looked.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow.
I was looking at one of the shots of him, and I guess that's how they, they had the, I guess, I don't know if it's prosthetics, but it was like it's attached in the front by his pecs. So his pecs kind of look a little bit like they stand apart from the body a little bit.
Well, maybe they're just bigger than yours.
No, that's not possible.
I've met you in person, Ryan. I know it is.
I stand by my word.
It looks very entertaining though.
But I was curious to see how they had it attached to him because it looks really cool. I dig that. But one problem I did have with the trailer in that one part was that if the guy's gonna go so far as to freeze the guy's arms off, why wouldn't he just kill him? He's right there.
Well, because you gotta make Jax, I guess.
He gotta. No, you can't kill him. Per the script, he has to survive. Go.
Maybe he just felt like, well, I took his arms off, so like I've done my job.
I've done my job. Yeah. I leave him for, whatever. He can't drink on his own, obviously.
Yeah. It's like the guy in the wheelchair in BVS. I can't even piss standing up.
I'm like,
oh man.
There's
a lot of things you can't do without two arms. So,
oh, Nick.
All right, let's not go in that direction.
No, either. I mean,
this stream went downwind.
Oh gosh. So Robert, in this Mortal Kombat movie, like you said, you played the games and like you've enjoyed those things for a while. If there was one thing that you think this movie cannot go without, what would that be?
Extreme violence.
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole point is that you want. It's called Mortal Kombat. And that was one of the things. I mean, I want creative deaths. I want spinal columns taken out. I want all that. And I think. Look. That's and you've got to do it in the way like Deadpool, of course, had hideous violence in it, when he's dispatching people, but it's got to be done with a smile. Yeah. I think that that's part of what you need in a Mortal Kombat film. They can't skimp on. It doesn't look like they've skimped on the violence. It looks like those kind of kills. But in this day and age where everyone has to be so sensitive, I'm like, look, man, I'm watching a Mortal Kombat movie. I understand it's not real. When Sub-Zero is stabbing some dude and then taking his blood and freezing it in midair and then killing the dead guy with his own frozen blood, we know what kind of a movie they're making. Right. And the more extreme the violence, the more fun it's going to be to watch. Yeah. And I don't think anybody that's going to watch a Mortal Kombat movie is going to run home and want to emulate what they've seen on screen.
Right. And also, like, And if people are too sensitive about like
rip them off,
like if people are too sensitive to violence, like again, you know what you're getting yourself into. Like like there's ways you can figure out if it's not for you. Like look at the parent guidelines or whatever, or parent whatever it is online, and then just watch the trailer and realize that okay, yeah, if I'm not into violence, like this is not for me. But like if you are into that stuff and you can handle it, like go and freaking watch this movie and have a dang good time.
Yeah. Because that's what it's supposed. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a good time with violence and yeah, it's gonna be supposed to be a really good time. And for the rest of you guys, the rest of you dinguses, what is the thing you guys?
This stream just took a turn for the worse. This is
Turn. Is that
yes, yes.
Anyway,
I misspoke.
Yeah, go ahead.
So besides the great violence, what's the thing you think this movie can't go without?
Well, I think with any movie, I also want a great story and I want fully realized characters. Mm-hmm. I hope that even though it's Mortal Kombat, that we do have a story that it's hard, so it resonates, and that we have great character development. I want to love these characters. I would like to buy these characters and own the Hot Toys figures of them.
Of course,
let's hope that they're good. I mean, like any movie, I want it to be a great story, well told. And I don't think having a great soundtrack and fatalities that I find delicious, that's not what's going to carry me. It's not going to carry me through the end of that movie. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, you want rewatchability.
Yes, I do.
And I mean, and that's where the good stories come in. I mean, the effects are awesome. They look kick ass.
Yeah.
But if the story is not there, or if the the acting is not there, as far as like performance wise and whatever, then it's not rewatchable. So therefore, it won't end up on most of our shelves.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah. Exactly. And Andre, Anthony, anything from you guys before we move on to the final topic?
I would just say that if you're going to do a Mortal Kombat movie, I think the main thing is you got to make sure that you have, and they've already proven it, that you.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you,
we don't care.
He got you.
Yes.
I was waiting for that. I was
right
like,
into it. I walked
you
right
really
into
let him go for a while.
I did let him go.
I was like, there was a good part of that I didn't care.
That's it. I'm done. I gave my answer.
Okay. Don't feel like that,
man. One thing you got to have in a Mortal Kombat movie.
I was say
Kombat movie this caliber,
and they're in the movie, which is great.
Awesome. And you, Anthony?
Can I talk?
I did it once. It's not gonna be funny if I do it 2 times in a row.
Oh, now it will because you said that.
The same thing everybody else said. As long as those elements are there, good story, extreme violence, I'm good. I'm up there. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Nice and short.
Yeah. He knew.
He was trying to get it in before the buzzer.
No, I wasn't gonna do that. Yeah. It loses its savor if you do it too fast 2 times in a row.
Although Dawson, Gavin's got a good point. If it's rated R, you're not able to see it.
Oh,
I'm 24 years old. Like, what the heck? Anyway,
all right.
So speaking of rated R material, not like the article, but like we recently got an article this week from Vanity Fair, and I know you covered this extensively, Robert, about Zack Snyder's Justice League and the story behind that. Right. I know you really delved into it and all the different things that they wrote in the article.
It was a pretty good stream.
But
well, thank you.
What are some of your general thoughts about the article that you'd like to present to the viewers?
Well, I think the thing that I took away from it, movies they're all made the same way, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And large studio tentpole pictures, and Justice League and Batman v Superman are two of the biggest tentpole movies that Warner Brothers has ever made, are made by meticulous planning, and you have to have a filmmaker that's at the top of their game that knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And these aren't things that you just head into willy-nilly. It takes a long time. There's months and months of pre-production, if not, in the case of some movies, years. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows exactly what's going on. Mm-hmm. And to me, what happened was, for various reasons, the studio, through their own interference, they lost confidence in what was being made. Mm-hmm. And for a number of reasons. And they wanted to make a change midstream. Mm-hmm. And whether it was removing Zack Snyder as director, even though I'm sure that was something that was talked about even before he had the tragedy with his daughter.
Right.
This was not something they just decided to do. No. This was something they balked at what was going on. And I think in a way, I put the blame squarely on Warner Brothers executives who they were looking over at what Disney was doing, and they wanted to get that Disney Avengers money without doing the groundwork.
Exactly.
Yes. And that's really what happened. And Man of Steel performed better than most of the first Marvel Phase 1 Marvel films. I think it performed better. But their idea that Superman should come back, what do you base that on? It outgrossed Superman Returns by almost 2 times. It was almost twice as successful worldwide. And this idea that now Batman v Superman, we have to have it gross. It has to gross $1 billion. I'm like, what are you basing that on? Yeah, Batman's? You've never made a Batman Superman movie before, so the idea that you're just going, they put all these characters together in Avengers, so it has to make $1 billion. No, you have to work up to that. They made
the mistake of thinking that simply the characters themselves would draw the crowd. Whereas what builds a crowd is, building up the hype and building it up in a way that people are interested in.
Well, it's the rapport. What they could have done is cast Ben Affleck and had him on on his own little adventure, and then bring in BVS. You keep the story arc that Snyder had set up, but you just sort of grow it out a little bit more. He wanted to do 5 films. Well, he could have done 5 of the the arc moving or plot moving films, but then you have little ancillary films in between that sort of grow and make it more rich, so that when you go back to a Zack Snyder film, you've got all this extra lore that you've already watched, and that makes it more rich when you watch his movies. Because just like Kevin Feige, Snyder puts in a hell of a lot of Easter eggs and so much. He just packs so much into his films. So it should have been a slow burn. There's still the same 5 movie arc that that Snyder wanted to tell, but just kind of stretch it out a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of, I think Batman v Superman, especially the Ultimate version, is much better. Yeah, but I'm watching this whenever I first of all, I love the opening of the movie when Bruce Wayne sees the end of Man of Steel from his perspective on the ground. Yeah, I think that's amazing.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
It's so good. It's so interesting, and from a science fiction perspective, it's great. But then
very Back to the Future-esque.
You don't know who this Batman is, because this Batman's acting so different than the Batman that we've known. We have to kind of pick up. And I would have rather watched a movie where you see Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne in conflict with one another, like not knowing who each other is, and they have some ideological conflict. You didn't need Doomsday. And maybe introduce Wonder Woman. The movie's called Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Why are they fighting Doomsday? I know that it's like they had to throw that in there. I just think the big problem with that movie is that it was overstuffed when it could have been a much more. It's a different movie that way, but and then the studio again, they screwed him by making him cut a half an hour out of the movie.
Yeah.
So a lot of what made that movie better was gone. And so it left. I think it would have made $1 billion had it had that extra footage in it.
Sure. Yeah, they had that mentality of like, oh, we got to make sure there's the time where you can put it in or play it in theaters multiple times, rather than worry about the quality, which draws people back in for a second or a third viewing. Regardless, like there's people like Anthony who went and saw it 7 times in the theater.
I did
but if you have that quality Ultimate Edition, you would have more people coming back to it and bringing friends to it, and you'd have made more money because of word of mouth. Because word of mouth to me seems like it's more important than the length of the film. Also to a certain extent.
Right. That's the short game versus looking at the long game.
Yes, and that's Hollywood thinking. The conventional wisdom is that, you get more showings in a day. I'm like, yeah, but if you have more showings of a less satisfying movie, less people are going to go in the long run. It always has to be about the quality of what you're making. And I saw the same thing happen at Warner Brothers with Superman Returns. I thought the 3-hour version of Superman Returns was a better movie. You know, and then when they showed it, they're like, well, the kids don't get it. The first 20 minutes of Superman Returns was when he did go back to Krypton and he found the wrecked Krypton, you know, the planet and the deleted scenes on the Blu-ray. And I'm like, that was a majestic, really interesting way to open up the movie. And there's all this, you find out in the film that all of that evidence that Krypton might still be there was trumped up by Luthor. He paid to have that stuff done. And you're like, oh, that was the way Luthor was able to get Superman off world. There was just more going on there. I'm not saying it would have been a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it was a more satisfying movie. Yeah. And basically, again, the studio balked. They made this movie. They saw it getting made. And they're like, well, the kids are saying they don't understand. Great. The kids will come and they'll figure it out.
Yeah,
you know,
they
this
have parents
idea
that can explain it to them.
You know, listening to people, I can't stand. I was listening on my show today. I was doing it about how Alex Kurtzman talking about, well, we have to make a way to Star Trek should appeal to kids. I'm like, I was 5 years old when I started watching Star Trek. It appealed to kids already. Yeah, like now you're going to do a Nickelodeon show with non-human characters, so it's not Star Trek anymore. Star Trek is about humanity and a positive, aspirational human future. And they just keep getting more and more. I mean, murder Trek, as I like to call it. How many people die in Picard and Discovery? People just get killed willy-nilly in those shows. They swear. People are in bed together. And look, I'm no prude. I love raunchy sex and hardcore violence. Bring it on. But not
just like Nickatina.
There you go. But not in the context of Star Trek.
Exactly. Star Trek that's not what it's really about.
And you mentioned like kids not understanding like versions of movies. Like I remember as a very, very young kid, you know, before, you know, I could really understand anything really,
a couple years
semi-complex. Yeah. You know, back when I was like 6 or something, I remember watching like the Star Wars movies with my dad, like the original trilogy. And as a very, very young kid, like there were some things I just didn't understand, but he would explain it to me and then I would understand it. And I think that studios are so worried about appealing to the kids, they like forget that conversation with the adults trying to figure out what's going on is also part of the experience. Like, there's one of the reasons why I love Star Wars so much, because it's one of those things that me and my dad really connected on and talked about a ton. Because there's things like, I'd ask him about like the Force, I'd ask him about like Darth Sidious, and like how like about Darth Vader, who he was. My dad would explain it because he read a lot of things.
He's like, how you answer all our questions, kid?
Yeah, but like you know what I mean. It enriches that experience that you have in the theater or just with the movie in general.
Force works.
Yeah.
Oh man, but. Yeah, back with this article, there was a lot of things about the history of the movie that were presented, like you were talking about, Robert. And I just thought it was very interesting how I loved, and I kind of want to hear your take on this as well, just to hear on the stream, when Zach talked about the 3 reasons why
that was not part of the article.
That he was not down for them to release just the cut as it was.
I loved that. That was one of my favorite. I mean, there it is in a nutshell. Yeah. And now I hear all these fans. People, it's so weird. Now it's being retconned that people are like, we knew that there was an unfinished cut. We just wanted to see that unfinished cut. And I'm thinking to myself, no, you didn't. Yeah. Nobody wants to see.
I want to see something worse than the Richard Donner cut.
Nobody wants to see that. I mean, and no filmmaker wants to show you an unfinished version of their movie. I mean, that way lies death. I thought that was exactly right, and the way he ended it, he's saying, "Yeah, so now it's not that good anyway. You think I want to give you that excuse where you can come and say that about my work? Yeah. I mean, no filmmaker worth their salt wants their unfinished work to escape." Right. You know, because the people
Here's
that
my
are
rough cut, go for it. You know?
Yeah, here you go. And watch whatever. It's just like, especially on a movie like that, like, no way.
Yeah.
You know, now
most of the people are in pajamas, you know, the
mocap suits.
The mocap, yes.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm here for the Atlanteans. Don't laugh.
Yeah, I mean,
here comes Cyborg running. Okay, he's got some lights on.
Ray Porter, what do you think you're doing? You know what I mean? Like,
Ray Porter is Darkseid walking around in his mocap suit.
Yeah, nobody would ever want to release that, but now it's like it's very strange because people are always saying, "Well, Rob, you're one of those people that didn't want to see the Snark." It's not that I didn't want to see it; I just knew what people thought it was. I'm like, it's not that. You know, right. you what you think exists isn't what exists. And now we're arguing about, well, we just want to see it. I'm like, no, you won. This was exactly what should have happened. Yeah. The only reason we first of all, this was never going to happen. There were talent contracts to negotiate. There was obviously $70 million plus they needed to finish it properly. And now that HBO Max, I said it on my own show back in November of 2019. I said, you know what? For all of you Snyder Cut fans, now there's somebody who could pay for it. Yeah. And that was the first time I was like, it could happen now. I could see it happening. But you guys, I do have to jump off. I have a 6 o'clock conference call.
Yeah, no worries. Right. We really appreciate you being here.
Every time. It's so awesome to have
pleasure.
You here.
Oh, this was a great conversation. I mean, I feel enlightened now.
Yeah, from all of Ryan's wisdom, it's just how it rolls around here. But
yeah, it's great.
It just rolls off the tongue. Sometimes I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'd love to stay for a lot longer. I have to go. We got some good news. Really good news that I have to parlay into better news. So,
okay.
Well, there you go.
So you have your film that you just was it Shlomo?
Tango Shalom. Yeah, Tango Shalom.
Tango Shalom. Yeah,
it's playing in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's going to be playing in Sacramento soon. Actually, that's what this conference call is about. Where it might be playing in a lot of places shortly.
Nice.
I mean, sometimes I just pull it out of my brain, and it resonates. Yes,
I just need
I knew that was what it was about.
Yeah, well, he's got to go. But hey, real quick, Robert, the trailer, you loved it?
I loved it.
Yeah, awesome.
I was talking about it's fucking metal, man.
Yes.
So I was in. I was in. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited.
And so guys, be sure to check out that project and try to follow along with that. Also, be sure to check out the Burnettwork on YouTube. He does a fantastic job covering movie news, just behind the scenes stuff in general. And we really appreciate you being here. And we hope you have a great rest of your night and a great conference call.
Thank you.
Come back anytime.
I'll come back anytime. This was great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your night.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
What a great conversation.
Oh,
man. Gotta talk to you.
It's fantastic. I loved every minute of it. It was. I mean,
we're losing viewers.
It's like it's just these guys. Start singing. Like why is it just these guys? Where's Robert? I thought they had Robert on this show.
We did.
Did they kick him? Did they kick him?
Is there a link to the conference call?
Yeah. He's like, he said something about the Snyder Cut. Get him out of here!
Oh my gosh. No,
but so far. But again, thank you everybody who's still here that is a Robert Meyer Burnett fan and did enjoy the show and did enjoy our takes as well with him or interaction with him. So thank you so much for being here. Take it away, Nickatina. You were gonna say something. Sorry.
So I was gonna say I did not expect to see the exclusive today from Grace Randolph, the interview with Zack Snyder when he talked about Army of the Dead. And I actually thought that he gave away more of the story of Army of the Dead in that interview than we got in the actual trailer. Because he talked about how Las Vegas has been quarantined and sort of just left. Like they just kind of left it there, even though it's been quarantined. And what's so funny?
They in the chat talking about that we booted Robert. It's he got booted.
Yes, we got fans of the good ones.
Well, I guess we got time.
Let's go.
Hey, you know what though? The Richard pointed out that the links in the description they don't work, and I tried them and they don't work.
Yeah, I don't know why. I have to check that because
ours don't work.
None of them do.
Oh, sabotage. I get it.
Sabotage.
Only Dawson's works.
Only Dawson's works.
Hey, the other ones, if you click on them, like on my link, it just redirects you back to Dirty Many Ways.
Back to Dawson's,
You're like, oh, Dawson's have to subscribe here again.
Yes, you discovered my evil plan. Yes.
I can listen to him on Spotify. How do I do that? I gotta pay him?
Well, you can do that by doing this.
There it is.
He's just cashing in.
Yes, and there's some
cash cow.
There's some members of the group who have not sent me the recordings of their episodes.
I already downloaded it.
I'm looking at you two.
I already downloaded it.
I'm looking at both of you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Look at me some more. Give me some screen time. Give me some shit, everybody. Tonight we're gonna have the WandaVision watch.
No. There's nothing happening tonight. There's nothing happening to that. Oh, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, I got rid of him super fast.
Happy day.
Don't give me a minute.
Yeah.
But real quick, I did want to finalize talking about those points that Zack Snyder made about not releasing the unfinished cut. And I loved it because he said well, first off, you still want to do this because you want to be in good grace with the fans, right? You want to look like the good guy. See, we did this. Second off, the internet's on your back. You want to get them off, right? And the third one is they're just you just want to get it out there so you can say look, it's not good. It's not finished. This is what you wanted. and this is why we didn't move forward with it. And that showed how aware Zack Snyder is. It's like, yeah, I know your mental games. I'm not playing, man. And I'm not taking money, so here's my bargaining chip. So, screw you. That's exactly how it was. And it's great. It's great.
There we go.
No one at all. No one at all.
I thought the article in general was fantastic because I like how it was from Zach's point of view. I also love the part of the article where it described how Deborah and Christopher Nolan watched Justice League, and I'm sure they probably threw up in their mouths and swallowed it because it's just so gross. I can't imagine what goes through your mind watching that movie. And as Debbie described it, you put so much time and effort into making these movies, and then to see what they did to your movie, you're just like, wow, you really just like butchered the hell out of this. And the fact that they were like, Zach can never see this movie. It would break his heart. I mean, that was huge. That was huge.
Even just like Dawson, I sent him a file today. I said, do not watch it. He couldn't help from watching it. So I'm like,
okay. First off, you sent me this like thing that says pre-intro, and you said, "Hey, just download this. Do not watch it." I'm just like, okay, I'm not just gonna put on the show blindly.
Why would you do that? That's gonna make him want to watch it.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, well now
I was like, I gotta pre-screen this.
So it's the exact same mentality of Zach. Like, Nolan and Deborah went over and told him, "Don't watch it." Well, of course he's gonna want to watch it. So if he hasn't really, maybe he hasn't watched it all the way.
There's a difference. There's a difference. Like, if it was a situation where Deborah sent him the file, if there's a difference between where like Deborah sent Zach the file of the movie, and it's like, hey, we're doing a show today, show this, but don't watch it. Like, I mean, I'm gonna watch it just to make sure. Luckily for me, the format wasn't right.
What's up, Brooke?
Good to have Brooke in the chat. Hey, y'all. I love the Southern slang. I love it.
Did she check out all the nice images I made of her husband today?
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that because I have them right here, and I think we should take a look at them right now.
Fine, here we go.
Make it full screen, dude.
It is full screen, dude.
Oh,
no.
Yes, I like that one. I like that.
See, that one looks good, man.
Yes,
another good one.
Look at Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
And that's today's show. We'll say air before the episode, but Dawson can figure it out.
You didn't have the right file format.
I do have to pee.
Hey, see, that's on the side, man.
President Camacho.
Yes.
That's another good one. You look scared though.
The hair matches.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Hey, yo,
That's a
get the
really
fuck
good
out of
one.
here, man. Get the fuck out.
That was big old forehead.
Of course, Ryan made himself.
I know. You made himself look cool. I'm like, come on.
What are you talking about?
Yes, I love this one.
Yes.
Dawson should be looking good. What the fuck?
Ew.
Don't be hating.
That's it right there.
No. There should be more, right?
No. I think you had a chance to add your newest ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's right there.
Yeah, I gotta correct this. I did not do this. That was not me.
Ryan made all
Do not credit me with this.
Yeah,
I put them together in the video with the music.
Genius.
And so, Dawson, simply all you had to do was share screen and play from file. And I don't know why you. That's what I just did.
It didn't save in a place I could find it. I looked everywhere. It wouldn't save in a place I could find it.
Actually, you know what I did was I went to Google Drive and I previewed it and went full screen.
Yeah,
and I shared.
Well, there you go. Good job. I'm proud of you.
I told y'all to do earlier. But
I'm proud of you.
Well, he got befuddled by the controls.
He was like, guys, we got to start the show.
He's staring at me.
Don't be. I love that one, dude.
Tons of cursed images.
So what that was,
So
you
in the
guys?
chat, which one was your favorite?
Yes,
Out
which
of
one
all
was
of
your
them,
favorite?
Which one was your favorite? I have an idea. I have an idea
Oh no!
of which
Which
one.
one?
It's never a good idea when Ryan has an idea.
I have an idea. I want to see it. I want to see it come up in the chat because I know.
Oh, Ryan was on fire today. He did like 5 or 7 of them. I don't know how many.
Did you get
Yeah,
any actual work done today?
And then your boss is like, "What are you working on?" Nothing.
Oh yeah, there was a
Look it up on
Nickatina.
map.
Was that there?
Shrekkatina wasn't on the video though. That he just.
No.
No, I
wasn't.
missed the Shrekkatina one.
Andreas Barf. Yes.
Yeah, that was the best one. That was the
This is
best
stuff
one.
nightmares are made of. Ryan with the space outfit. Buzz Lightyear Dawson was uncanny. Yes,
that was
good. I liked
by
that.
far the best one.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it, his name isn't Light Year.
It's light beer.
Light
It's
beer.
Light Beer.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. I am really proud of you. Barf. There are a few really good ones. Smurf.
Oh, the Smurf
Oh,
was
dude,
really good.
that blended really well. Yes, that
And
did.
Biff.
It did.
Brooke likes Biff.
Nah, the Biff, it looks funny on the forehead on the Biff, man.
You didn't put in Doc Brown, did you?
I never
didn't
got
see-
that one.
Oh crap! Okay, I got.
T-Dumb cases no Dawson.
Oh, you know
the stuff
what?
Dreams are made of.
I thought I sent them all to you.
No, you did. You know what?
It's fine. It's fine.
This
This was-
unfortunately.
No. We're just trying it out. It's funny as
Yeah.
ever. But
So-
we're
so
gonna
what that-
we're gonna have more.
Yeah. So
We're
what
gonna
that
have
was,
more.
guys, that was a preview of like kind of like the preview that we'll play before the show starts. Just something fun to look at and make fun of us at the same time.
Fun to look at.
But yeah, do me a favor. Go to my Twitter. Like and retweet those images. The
Got
ones
him,
that
got him. Drop him right now.
all of.
No, I refuse.
Yeah, go to his Twitter and unfollow.
Go to my Twitter. Just scroll down
and hit
find
unfollow.
Unfollow.
This is another good one right here. I actually like this one.
You like this one?
It came out really good.
It paired
That is
so well.
disgusting.
It paired so
but
well
it
with
looks
his
good
face.
though. It looks good.
I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Now, Dawson,
Yo, that
you
one
used
and
to be a heavier
the
man,
quick-
right? So
the quick.
Yo.
Quicksilver,
Andre,
dude.
you're sharing this, right?
Yeah.
So bring up, if you have it, you have the files. So bring up the Doc Brown one. I want to share. Oh my god, I love that.
is this a mystery man?
Yes, that's Captain Amazing. I love this character.
That's a good one there too. That's a really good one.
There's great.
That was really good too.
Nah, dude.
I like how you got the white on
Jonathan,
my
Jonathan,
yeah.
Jonathan,
I was like,
Hey,
how
yo,
the hell did he do that?
Nah, dude. The Quicksilver one, you should have put that one in there.
Oh,
dude.
that one. I did that one too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Andre
that one
was
afterwards.
Quicksilver.
Like,
Yeah,
'cause
I
it made
can't
these-
see.
See, look how that
Why does Anthony's face look high? Like, he looks so high there.
my eyes are red. That's why.
the picture that he took.
Oh my gosh.
He looks like he
Look
can right
at that,
there.
man. That's
Look
not
how well
like
it's
that.
blended.
Good.
Yeah, that looks like he's
Dang,
actually.
That
man.
one he spent time on. You can tell he was just like, yeah, I'm
Well,
gonna
I mean, I really.
This is
I
like
spend a
the-
lot- I
the
spend a lot
Snyder
of,
cut version.
Yeah, it's very unsettling how much time I spend on Dawson.
You should. It is unsettling. You
That
should
looks
send me
good.
that one because I like that a lot.
It
Don't
looks-
hate.
Don't, looks like me in high school.
He sees
Yo,
from
the Buzz
Malibu.
Lightyear looks, but the Buzz Lightyear looks like there's a movie coming out.
He has no neck whatsoever.
Do I make you horny, baby?
That was Mike Myers. Mike Myers didn't have a neck.
And look,
So-
he even got his teeth in there too.
Yeah,
He made
put his teeth in
include that, like the Mike Myers grill. I was like, oh my god.
Stop wasting your talent, Ryan. Oh my goodness
Oh,
gracious.
man, dude.
This is too much. Oh my gosh.
I
I
had
love-
so much fun
I
today.
love how we just had a very like serious and good discussion with Robert, and now we're just like laughing at manipulations that
Yeah.
Ryan made.
This is where we go when Robert Lee is like, all the manipulations.
Ryan, my bad. You're a genius. Sorry, Dawson. Blessed your heart.
Let me see.
I speak Southern. I know what that means.
Bless your heart, yeah.
Bless your heart. I'm trying to find the file. I don't know where it's at.
Scotty says I wasn't going to smoke up, but here we are.
There we
Oh, I forgot
go.
this one too. Let me see. There's a couple of them I forgot.
Share the other ones that you
It's
have.
been better Buzz Lightyear than Chris Evans. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, there you go.
Sign me up. Pay me the money for that.
Now, the Chris Evans Buzz Lightyear, is that the toy or is that...
Don't piss me off.
Here's one more of Dawson. If you want to pull that up.
You didn't put that one in there.
I know. Well,
like,
I had a very
like
limited time.
nunchuck skills, bow hunting skills, computer hacking skills. We both know I'm trying to be a cage fighter.
He's like, the chickens have large talons.
Honest, the only thing I had to do to this one was not give him hair. Everything else was normal. I didn't have to do too much to this.
Didn't have to do too much.
Oh my god. Okay, Brooke says it was a good bless your heart. Okay, that makes it a little better.
Bless your soft-headed heart.
Kinky space.
No. Show him the Shrek. Somebody brought it up. Yeah, show the Shrek. Show the Doc Brown.
The Quicksilver, dude.
Or the Dr. McBrown. Yeah, the Quicksilver.
Okay, hold on. Okay, Ryan, you can share screen too. You got them all on the computer.
They're at work. They're at work.
Of course, because you get nothing done.
They're at work. They're not even on the computer. He's doing them at work. I mean, come on, man.
Hey! I had a lunch break.
Yeah, I'm like a 5-hour lunch break. All right, here's another one of me.
I'm an ogre.
I'm an ogre.
Shrekatina, yes.
Shrekatina.
Oh,
Okay, next.
oh, man.
Oh my god.
Okay, Doc Brown.
Somebody once told me the
world is gonna roll me.
I have to find it real quick.
Okay,
I didn't download all of them.
The Quicksilver one.
So
I know you have the Quicksilver.
Well, I have to go back to my emails to get it. Hold on.
This is what happens behind the scenes. We just mess around.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, Bunyan, he's really pimping his work. He was like, please give me attention.
Ryan's like, yeah, pimp my picture.
Hey, it is what it is.
So
I didn't make him for nothing. I made him.
So you're not denying it?
No. Follow me as Zeeverfett. You can join my Patreon.
Yeah. Will you get exclusive access to these face manipulations? I manipulate you to get more money.
And you can also
put watermarks on his pictures and shit.
Yeah.
Andre has layers like an onion.
I'm like a Zack Snyder movie, just all kinds
That's
of
cold.
layers to me.
That is cold. And Ryan's just leaving. He's just gone.
That's it.
Oh my
that's not it.
gosh.
Those are all his picks.
Dude, you just gotta go on Twitter and find the post.
I have them all right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shut up.
Okay.
Oh, this is a
Super
good
Hype says, I love the Cruella one he made of me.
Oh, yeah, that was a really good one.
Ryan had a lot of fun with Allie's manipulations. Like that was...
There's a Doc Brown one right there.
Oh no. Not another word. Not another word. That was pretty good.
That one is pretty good. Look.
Yeah. Plus his face is framed, so it's easier for him to kind of like put it there, you know?
Yeah.
He's really good with these.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like he has a background in, graphic design or something, or Photoshop.
Yeah, you know.
He has a background in face manips.
Okay, wait, is he back yet or no?
No, he's not.
Okay, you guys.
Mr. Purchase Fiddle says, like a turd
in the wind. Okay, blow me up. Okay, you guys, he's not back yet. Okay, so Ryan made a fan film. It's a Star Wars fan film, but it's incomplete. So I want him to show the rough cut of the movie, even though we just talked about how he wouldn't do that. Oh, he's fucking back.
I was waiting to reveal that to you to scare you,
dude. You have to do a screening of the Zeever cut.
The Zeever cut.
Yeah, dude.
You have to.
It's mainly green screen.
I don't care what it is.
It's the rough cut.
It's doing a black and
Release
white.
it. Oh my gosh.
That one was great. I love the ones where I can like put Anthony in hair.
I don't have it. Yeah.
It's just so funny.
Let me see. Let me get back to
like the Dumb and Dumber one.
Oh yeah.
It's just the bowl haircut. My god, man.
There's so many. It's almost ridiculous. I'm like, oh my god.
Almost. It is ridiculous.
I think I had more fun.
This one. I forgot about this one. This is a good one too.
The Richard, man, I appreciate you putting our stuff out there because he's
much appreciated, Richard.
Working beneath the stream, so like he's been putting our stuff out there throughout the stream.
Absolutely, man. Much appreciated. The Richard is awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Release the Shatner cut.
You must be so embarrassed.
It looks like an action figure.
Yeah, I think it is an action.
It is an action figure.
Yeah, it is a miniature.
I couldn't find one of the guy. I forget his name.
Drax.
The dude that plays in
the guy that plays him.
Batista.
Yeah. Batista. Yeah, because I did do the other Batista one. I don't know if you saw that one.
I don't know. I have to look for it.
Nah.
Oh yeah, from Army of the Dead.
Yeah, Army of the Dead. Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, no.
Did you already show the Quicksilver one?
No,
not yet.
That's the great.
This is a good one right here. This is a good one right here. Hold on.
Oh, look, it's Mystique from the X-Men.
I love this one so much.
He said Mystique.
Oh no! Gosh dang it!
That's a good one. Throw that shit up.
He's an Oompa Loompa.
You even colored my eyebrows. Gosh dang it!
The things that Ryan does while he's at on the job site. He's at work.
He's not here. 10 Doggy 10 says, "Hey Ryan, where'd you get that Superman beanie? We call it a toque in Canada."
Yeah, where did you get it?
Where did I get it? I think I got it from Target.
Hey, did you guys see Nerdy's hat? He
Years
just switched
ago.
to his new hat.
Yeah, he just switched to a Man of Steel.
He just switched it. Yeah, look at that.
And that's what I was looking for because I have that hat. So I was like, "Oh, where is it?"
I like this hat a lot.
Put it on.
Although my wife and sister like held it and they're just like, "Man, this hat's heavy."
It's got a huge plaque on it.
It's
got a plaque.
Legitimately metal, but like it has like the things underneath the bill with Superman and stuff. Like it's freaking sick. I love this hat. Thanks again, Enosh, for that.
Yeah,
fan freaking tastic.
Look at this one. Look at this one. Oh my god, I haven't seen this one yet.
Oh no. Oh, I saw this one.
There's a snake in my boot.
It's boot, not boots.
There's a snake in my. Well, you got more snakes than Woody. There's a snake in my boots.
It's disturbing how the chin converts to the face.
How accurate it looks. It fits so well.
You know, I'm not gonna lie.
There's no way that Dawson could pair with a toy.
My wife and I, no joke, almost went to Halloween this year dressed as Woody and Bo Peep. Like we were very close.
People would have been like, "That's a dead ringer."
Yeah.
You found the real life Woody.
I want to see Anthony as an Oompa Loompa.
Oh, no. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. There's so many of them after as the video.
Well, it's because he just never stops making them. Okay, I like this one actually. This one looks dang good.
Dossie 3.
Not the name. Not a fan of that, but
what was the other one you wanted?
The Army of the Dead with Anthony, and then Quicksilver with you.
Yeah, where's Quicksilver?
It's just go to Ryan's fucking Twitter.
Yeah, you didn't put it on this
I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, that's not with it. But the Army of the Dead one is. I sent that to you.
Yeah, that one's on here. Here it is, right here. Let me pull it up.
Let's see.
There it is, right here.
There it is.
Yeah.
He's a man, not a god.
You have to zoom that shit in.
Oh my gosh. He's staring right at the camera.
It's so fucking weird, dude.
I know. It was so hard because
he's like, you see, Anthony, you have to walk over here, and you're just like, what? What am I doing?
Let me see. I'll find the other one.
You got to talk to Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder. He's like, I'm a big fan. I know how to use the machine gun.
I know how to use this.
I will have Anthony know that earlier today I was asked in like Q&A.
I would defeat you in a.
No, I'm not talking to you. I was talking to Anthony.
If this was an apocalypse, yes, I would outlast. I would outlast.
No.
Like, in a heartbeat.
Oh gosh.
This is the one.
Oh gosh.
You should have got the ripple coming out.
Why is my forehead so brown, dude? Look at my
Because it doesn't blend in. He didn't blend in.
I was laughing too hard. I just said it.
But Anthony,
it looks good like this.
I did shout you out, Anthony, earlier in my Q&A, because someone asked, like, of the 4 nerds, who would survive Army of the Dead? And I was like, Anthony, hands
I
down.
heard that shit. I was like,
So
dude,
Anthony's the only one that would outlast me out of all of us. Even if I was thinking about this, yes.
How do you figure?
I know you have a longer reach, but then I would even pair you up with Nickatina, and I would still outlast you guys.
Oh, whatever.
Excuse me. Wow.
First thing I would do is I would ditch Austin to make sure I would survive.
But Anthony would use my.
Oh yeah, Anthony would absolutely survive because he has the military experience. And, like,
and this is one of the better ones he's ever done.
That's pretty good.
That was the first one.
Yeah,
that was the first one because that's what he looked like.
Dawson, you started all this when you posted that one picture.
I was making fun of influencers, and Ryan just ran with it.
I was like,
dead freaking serious.
Why would you do this when I can click on it? I was like, it's mine now.
Okay. Here's the one everybody wants. You bring it over.
It almost looks like you're hissing at her like a cat.
Oh, look at her. She's like, look at her hand. She's like, oh no.
Like, oh, did you add those in?
No, that's the picture.
Oh,
I didn't do it. All I did was put his face on there.
Oh, look, he's right there. That's a good suggestion right there.
No,
Dawson is Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn. I did not gender swap. And he
doesn't gender swap.
Yeah, I'm not gonna gender swap. Unfortunately, Kinky.
Why'd you say it like that?
I'm gonna gender swap
because I could have a lot more fun with gender swapping, but I'm just not gonna do that. Yeah. I mean, these are funny.
Look at her. What?
What does that even mean?
No.
He's like, ah.
Thank you. I can't.
Silver.
I can't watch WandaVision now. Oh gosh,
that was really bad.
That was horrible.
What's this one?
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, we saw that one. The Wolverine one.
Hey, that one actually looked pretty good.
I do have to pee.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's all of them.
Jimmy Smith.
I just dropped everything.
I think.
Oh no,
you dropped your load. Nope.
There's one more. One more.
This
is not even very good.
Oh yeah. Did he just call me White Devil? It's how they know you.
It's how they know you.
Oh man.
But I mean, I think that where'd it go? I don't even know where it's at anymore. So many of them. Rambo.
Not another word. Not another word.
And he's like,
The actor?
You're going to tell me the description.
well, tell me who's president in 1985? Ronald Reagan. The actor?
The actor?
Oh,
boy.
thanks so much, Richard. Thanks so much, man, for being here.
Hey,
Yes,
Richard's
man.
the man.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I love the show. Love you guys. Love you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man, for all your support and all your shout outs in the chat. Oh gosh. Man, that one looks like you it's like a reverse.
Hat on, man.
It looks like you wore like a scarf across your face and went to the beach.
His forehead is really tan.
Extremely tan.
Yeah, man.
I should go fix that one. That's fine. I can do that.
He said, man, he says, ACS be like, we got to send you back. Yes, we got to send you back to the future.
That's my favorite one.
Look at Wanda's hands. She's like, why are you speaking to me in such a manner? He's just
She's like, why are you so bloated looking?
Well, it looks like she's like taking her troubled brother around, and he's just like,
He's like,
leave me alone. Leave me alone.
I'm not ready to go to sleep.
It's not that time yet. And this is Brooke's favorite right here. Is not another word.
Oh goodness gracious!
The actor? That shit is so funny. Dude.
Look at his hair.
Oh
Oh my god, dude!
This is too good. This is too good.
Well,
Marty.
I think our thumbnails need to start being made by Ryan with these manipulations. Just a new one each week for a different version of us.
oh
like,
my god!
You mean those
Manips.
manips?
I still love this one.
He looks like he's happy he got stabbed.
I'm about to do
This is great.
Hey, let's go.
This is fun.
It's
Like
so
I'm on it.
euphoric.
What's that movie? This Is the End, when they're all happy when they get killed. Hey,
Oh
like, yo.
What's up, Ernest?
How's it going, Phil?
Oh man!
Oh, it went off the rails as soon as Robert left. It went off the rails.
I like I'm screaming at her too.
Like, don't touch me.
I am not the Quicksilver of this timeline.
Don't touch his ears.
I'm gonna need Dawson to be Marty now.
Part is mine.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
God.
Man, my lungs hurt from laughing so freaking much. Holy
It looks
crap.
like he just dropped the maddest fart.
Looks like she
He's like,
insulted me.
smell it. Smell it. She's like, oh no.
He's like, it wasn't me. For the last time, it wasn't me.
They recast me.
Yeah, they did. They were crash Petro, man.
While I was on set.
What do you mean Fox got bought out?
Oh man. It just
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, this is too much. Oh.
Wait, wait.
All right.
You're not my sister.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, this is great. Yes, thanks to the stream team. Yes, no problem. Ernest says, "Guys, be honest. Today, have you see the spoilers from WandaVision? No, we have not. We have not seen
No.
spoilers.
No.
We avoid those things. We avoid those things.
Yes.
Just check my watch bar earlier tonight.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
like-
watch
Yeah,
party
avoid
tonight
that as
on
well.
Kombat.
Avoid
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But
yeah.
subscribe
Yeah,
to
there's
the
nothing
4Nerds
going on
channel.
Anything
tonight,
he
and
says,
subscribe to the
anything-
4Nerds channel, please.
Yes. Yes.
But
Subscribe to
There we
after
go.
the 4Nerds is
Woo!
over,
Thank you,
everybody can
Scotty.
go to sleep.
Let's go,
There's
Scotty.
really
Thanks for
nothing going
joining.
on after that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is a fun time. Again, we got to give a shout out to Robert Meyer Burnett for being here today.
Yeah. Oh god,
Like-
that was awesome.
What a great guest. What a
Love
great
having
guy.
him on.
And if you guys have not checked it out, be sure to check out his channel, The Burnettwork. You guys probably all have since why you're here. But again, he has great takes, has fantastic stuff, drops a lot of great knowledge and behind the scenes stuff and movie making in general. And guys, it's been a fun time. Gosh, again, my diaphragm hurts.
Yeah.
But guys, if you want to follow us on
Oh,
social media and
boy.
YouTube, here's where you can do that. Got Nerdy Many Ways at NIMW32, Zeeverfett at Zeeverfett, ACS Universe at 2279 ACS, and Nickatina Show at Nickatina_show. So be sure to follow us there. And this episode
All
will
links
be.
lead back to nerdy in many ways.
No, it does not. But if you
All hyperlinks lead back to Nerdy.
if you want to listen to the audio version of this podcast, be sure to follow us on Spotify. I'll have this episode today up there pretty soon because I actually do my job.
Actually do my job.
I've told you guys like 5 times.
I know. I actually made a point to download it today, but it's on my Mac inside the house. So I was like, oh, I gotta email that now. Step 1 is done.
Fail.
Step 1 is done. I got
Step 1
done.
is done.
That was
Yes.
as far as I got.
That's Nickatina's mono. One and done.
But guys, any last messages before we close out today? You guys said at the same time.
Snyder's Justice League on HBO Max, March.
Can't
18th.
wait.
Can't wait.
Are we
Cannot
gonna tell him who's the guest for next week? Nickatina,
Andre?
go ahead.
So we are working on a very special presentation. It's gonna be the 4 Nerds, and what it's looking like right now is that we are probably gonna have an appearance of one of our good friends, Mr. Enosh Fee, but it may be a little different than what you're expecting. So stay tuned for that because it's gonna be a lot of fun. And don't forget, the week after that, on March 11th, we're gonna have none other than Paul from the Heavy Spoilers channel. He's gonna be here to talk about WandaVision, MCU, Justice League, all that good stuff. And so he will be here on March 11th. And of course, the week after that, you know what that is. That is going to be the Zack Snyder Justice League premiere date. So we have something in store for that as well. We're working on putting something together for you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely check social media, and we'll keep you guys informed of any updates that we have for that Zack Snyder Justice League premiere event.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And also, I just sent you that episode.
What are you talking about?
I know. He said kind of creepy.
Yes, we did. Good job. Yes.
I'm downloading it right now on this computer.
I'm so hyped. I just might.
I want to shave my.
And with that.
Yes, and with that, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to today's presentation of the 4Nerds. Be sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for future episodes because we got a lot of cool stuff planned for this channel. And it's just a fun time in general to be a nerd. So with that, guys, peace out. And
Peace.